It's Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. I'm going to start out today's video by saying it really gives me some reinforcement, some faith in society that we still have some good people out there. Yesterday's video, I spent a few minutes at a local dog shelter. If you didn't see that video, check out yesterday's show. And it really touched a lot of people. A lot of people, again, it just really reinforces with me that we still have some really good people out there that care about other people, they care about humanity, they care about animals, they have empathy. And a lot of people were touched and said they were going to make some donations to their local animal shelters, which, God bless you, fantastic. And it's just good to know that there's people out there that care. They care about people that are sleeping on the streets. They care. We care about the animals at these shelters. We just care about people and animals, and we have empathy, and we believe in humanity, and we want to make the world a better place, and we want to make America a better place. So that really really touched me. A lot of comments on that shelter yesterday. So God bless every one of you. It's just good to know that we still have people out there that really care. So thank you again. But let's get into what happened today. A real barn burner on Wall Street. And I'm going to start with this first article on CNBC. Jim Cramer dismisses recession fears and names sectors poised to soar after Fed meeting. So Jim Cramer now dismisses recession fears. This to me is very concerning because he's typically wrong. And if you believe that we're going to just bypass this recession that we're already in because Jim Cramer says so. Most of you already know we've been in a recession for a very long time. And in my opinion, we're already in the beginning stages of a very serious depression. But markets are ignoring all this. Dow Jones up 512 points today. NASDAQ up 200 points today. Gold up $43, sitting at $2,040. Silver up $1.15, sitting at $24.08. Bitcoin up $1,700, sitting at $43,000. In my humble opinion, watching this circus today, where Jerome Powell came out, I'm sure most of you know by now that they did not raise rates. They did not pivot, but Jerome Powell was very dovish today, now saying that we're going to see 3 rate cuts in 2024. So in my opinion, Jerome Powell and the Fed has lost control. They have given in. They are now looking out for the well-being of the stock market, not the American people, not the consumer, not the US dollar. This, in my opinion, is going to cause a lot of inflation. And that's why I believe you saw gold go up as far as $48 today, settling it at $43, $2,040 for an ounce of gold right now. But I think gold now sees inflation coming. Markets are ignoring it. Markets could care less. Markets are manipulated and detached from reality. Here's another one. Dow soars more than 400 points. This article was written earlier today because we know it soared to over 500. We did surpass 37,000 on the Dow. But here's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. And so I went to the U.S. national debt clock today just for a little dose of reality. So debt now, U.S. debt, $34 trillion. Debt per taxpayer, $260,000. So if you're a taxpayer, you now owe $260,000 towards the U.S. national debt. Debt to GDP, 135.43%. Median income in America is $36,000. The median new home is $424,000. Average new car, $51,000. Living in poverty. How many people, take a guess, how many people in America living in poverty? You guessed it, over 43 million. Manufacturing jobs, we're sitting at 12.9 million manufacturing jobs. Back in the year 2000, we had 17.1 million manufacturing jobs. So we've lost about 4 million more manufacturing jobs just in the last 2 decades. U.S. homeless, 610,000. That does not include people sleeping in their cars or dilapidated RVs. Food stamp recipients, 41.3 million people on food stamps. The top 1% worth wealth in America, 18.2 million. Let me repeat that. The top 1%, their wealth is sitting at 18.2 million. That's the average. The bottom 50%, 33,000. And there's so much. If you have 5 minutes, go to the U.S. National Debt Clock, Google it. Here's the last one I wrote down. U.S. unfunded liabilities, $212 trillion with a T, trillion dollars. Yet we're looking at the Dow over 37,000 points today, up over 500, NASDAQ up over 200, and we're supposed to believe everything's okay. Just take a listen to what I just read to you. This is just a splinter of what that National Debt Clock, the information that it has. When you read some of the data on the National Debt Clock, it's extremely scary. It is extremely scary to see how much trouble we are in. The Federal Reserve's period of rate hikes may be over. Here's why consumers are still reeling. You know, just a couple weeks ago, Jerome Powell came out and said, nobody here is talking about rate cuts. We may have to raise. Just a couple weeks ago, he's talking about raising rates. 2 weeks later, now he's talking about 3 rate cuts in 2023. I believe in 2025, they're saying 4 cuts. In 2026, 3 cuts. We aren't even close to 2% inflation, and they're cutting. But getting back to this article on CNBC, the Federal Reserve's period of rate hikes may be over. Here's why consumers are still reeling. The consumer is still in very, very big trouble. It does not matter at this point. Credit card rates right now are hovering around 22%, an all-time high. So between high inflation and record interest rates, consumers will end the year with $100 billion, $100 billion with a B, more in credit card debt. 589 plus million credit cards in the back pocket of Americans right now and climbing. We're over $1 trillion of credit card debt. The next report will be estimated to be around $1.3 trillion. Going forward, APRs aren't likely to improve much until the Fed starts cutting, and even then, they will only ease off extremely high levels. So, okay, next year, the year after, maybe your credit card rates will be 17, 18, 19%. Is that really going to help anybody? Yes, they're at 22.08% right now. Maybe in a year or two, they're down to 18. People cannot afford that. This is still completely unsustainable. Bankrate.com, 30-year fixed rate on a mortgage, 7.31% after hitting 8% in October. Don't expect, ladies and gentlemen, to see mortgage rates go back down to 3 or 4%. More than likely, a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, they're going to be hovering in the 6s, mid-6s. But we don't even know. I mean, the Fed could change their mind again in 2024 and say, we're going to have to delay rate cuts. We're going to hold higher for longer, or we're going to have to raise. We don't know yet. To me, this just juiced the markets today with Jerome Powell coming out being extremely dovish and saying that he's going to be cutting rates possibly as early as March. But what if he doesn't? What if this is just a head fake? Auto loans surpass 7%. Yesterday, somebody wrote me and said, with very, very good credit, he was looking at a auto loan with very good credit, 9%. So they cut rates next year 3 times, 25 basis points. What are you going to pay? You're going to be paying 7, 8% on a new car loan? I mean, unfortunately, things have gotten so, the rates have gotten so high to borrow money that even though they may ease up, 3/4 of a point next year, it's still gonna be extremely hard for people to breathe next year. They've taken on so much debt, and debt will still be extremely high next year. Borrowing the cost of borrow is going to be extremely high. And I believe that what the Fed is doing by reversing course, We don't know. They're saying they are, but we don't know yet. We're not going to know till next year. But if they do this, this is going to be very, very big trouble for the consumer, especially the middle class and the poor, because you're going to see inflation accelerate. This is what caused inflation: cheap money, low interest rates, low rates for too long. We're resorting right back to that because the Fed does not know what to do. And so the easiest thing to do is pivot, reverse course. Next, the printing presses will start up. This is really dangerous, what they're talking about. And again, how do you get to 2% inflation when we're over 3% right now? We know that real inflation is over 10%, and you're talking about cutting rates? Again, Jerome Powell and the Fed has given in to the markets, the economy, the middle class, the poor are going to be sacrificed here, just like they have been. It's going to get much, much worse. So if you think it was a tough year in 2023 with inflation, you're going to see much more inflation in 2024, and they're going to guarantee it if they pivot, if they do what they say they're going to do, which we don't know yet, because they can say, hey, we changed our minds. We're not going to cut rates yet, higher for longer. But if they do cut 3 times at 25 basis points, is that really going to do much to change your life? Not really. It's still going to be very expensive to borrow money to buy a house, a car, access to credit cards. Debt is still going to be expensive. Just shifting gears here for a minute. I read this article, and it was titled 83%, a new poll concerned about political violence. What do you think about this? What do you think we're going to see in 2024? I think 2024 is going to be a brutal year. Political violence, yes, I agree with this poll. I believe we are going to see political violence. I think we're going to see a lot of violence across the board. And as the FBI director has been talking about the last few weeks, with people that are here, we don't know who they are, why they're here, where they're from. It is a matter of time before we begin to see some acts of violence take place here. So comment down below. You think 2024 is going to be a smooth year? Is it going to be a year where the economy actually improves, society improves, or do you believe the opposite? I believe that this is what we're preparing for, 2024. New York Post, mortgage payments on a new home have risen 90% under this administration in the last 3 years. So a payment 3 years ago of $1,746 a month for a mortgage is now going to cost you $3,322. Somebody please tell me how this is sustainable, how this can continue, and how people who are spending 40 or to 50% of their income on a mortgage payment, how long can they last? This is, I just cannot believe, I want to be honest with you, watching some of these financial channels today and Jerome Powell and the Fed, I just cannot believe what I'm watching. What is taking place is extremely dangerous. It is dangerous to the consumer. It's dangerous to everybody in this country, the entire economy, the future of America, and the future of the US dollar and our purchasing power. They are looking out for these markets. They are not looking out for you or myself. They're not looking out for the US dollar. They're not looking out for the health of the US economy. They're looking out for the top 1%. We're going to pay a very, very big price here, ladies and gentlemen. So I think Jerome Powell has folded. I think he's now showing his true colors. And isn't it amazing? I mean, think about this. Everything over the past couple of years, but let's just look back this past year. Again, just some of the data points I read off of the massive amount of debt. $260,000 of debt for every taxpayer. The homeless crisis. The cost of a new home. Half this country, half the American workers in this country made $40,000 or less. People are lucky if they're living paycheck to paycheck. Many have to borrow money to make it to the next paycheck. It goes on and on and on. The amount of people, 43 million people on food stamps, it goes on and on and on. And yet today, the Dow Jones breaks a record over 37,000 on the Dow Jones today. Do you really believe this? I think a lot of people are really waking up, all while we have Mr. Z here looking for $61 billion. So we're in two wars. America is bankrupt. We're the biggest debtor nation on planet Earth. Half of our workforce makes 40 grand or less. People are struggling paycheck to paycheck. A savings rate of 3%. Half this country doesn't even have $400 saved up. And we're supposed to believe that everything is doing great. Dow Jones over 37,000 today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you feel good? Did your life change? Do you have more money in the bank now? Did the interest rate on your credit card go down? Are you making more money at work? Did you get a raise? Did you go to the grocery store and find out you had more purchasing power today? No, absolutely not. But because the markets were in the green today, everything's okay. Another article today from the economiccollapse.com. Last chance to get out of Dodge. There are a lot of people sitting at the dinner table tonight with their families discussing about leaving the state that they're in. Many right here in the state of California. I'm one of them. And there's no doubt that I'm running out of time. A lot of people are running out of time. But it is a very, very serious conversation. And, you know, when you're talking about moving thousands of miles away, the cost, employment, when you have responsibilities and obligations where you're at right now, you have friends, you have family, you have roots somewhere, it's a very difficult decision to make, to just uproot and go thousands of miles to somewhere you've never lived before. But a lot of people now are having that discussion. And in this article, it made a very important point here. A majority of psychologists reported that more people are seeking mental health care this year. Over half, 56%, said they had no openings for new patients. If you're in this industry, please comment down below. Are you seeing a surge in patients? When conditions get real bad, we're going to witness a national emotional meltdown of epic proportions, according to this article. I believe that wholeheartedly. The next question is, where will you be when this happens? As this society is breaking down, as people are easily triggered, people are high stress, people are wondering if they're going to have a job tomorrow, they're wondering how they're going to feed their kids, how they're going to make their rent, how they're going to make their mortgage, how they're going to make the car payment. Maybe they just had their car repossessed. I spoke about this yesterday. You got to really be careful out there, because people are really high strung right now because they're under so much stress. You don't know the person you're honking your horn at, if they just got fired, 3 payments behind on the mortgage, 3 kids at home, going through a divorce. This person is at a point where they feel like they don't have anything to lose. You got to really be careful out there. People are really, really stressed out. You can see the way they drive, the way they walk, the way they act. They're highly stressed. And when things really fall apart, you're going to see these stressed out people break down. They're going to have these emotional meltdowns. And the question is, where will you be? Will you be in a big city? You're going to be in LA? You're going to be in Chicago? You're going to be in New York? Or you're going to be in a rural area? Or you're going to be in a nice, safe suburban area? We've got to be thinking about these things. Where are we going to be when this thing breaks out? And I pray to God I'm not here. That is for sure. But something to definitely think about, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to finish with this last article. This was, again, shocking yet not shocking. Washington State bill would jail people for using new gas leaf blowers. You now are the enemy if you have a leaf blower that runs on gas and not a battery. You could be put in jail. We have so many problems in this country. And I guess one of the biggest ones is if your leaf blower is running on gasoline and not a battery. But you are now the threat. You are now the threat because you have a gasoline leaf blower. I mean, we are living in the twilight zone. When do people say enough is enough? Unbelievable what is going on. These states, these cities have so much crime, retail crime, assaults, carjackings, yet they want to make you the criminal because your leaf blower runs on gasoline. I hope people really, really wake up. I hope people vote. I hope people get involved in the political realm, in the lower levels of in the community, in their towns, in their counties. And I hope people begin to make a change, because we pay so much in taxes, and it is so dangerous out there. We don't have anybody to protect us but ourselves. The police have checked out. They're overwhelmed, or we just don't have enough. The politicians could care less. And it's just shocking to see this breakdown of society continuing to accelerate. But you're the bad guy. You're the criminal because your leaf blower is gasoline. Not the people breaking car windows, not the people breaking into cars, not the people going into retailers and stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars of merchandise. No. You're the bad person. You're the criminal. I'm going to leave it there today. Please comment down below about anything you want to comment on. Please like this video, share this video and all my videos, and please make sure to subscribe. There's a lot of people that watch this show and they're not subscribed. Please subscribe, please like. That helps the algorithm. That helps to promote this message. It helps to promote the channel, helps to wake people up. So like these videos, subscribe to this channel. God bless every one of you. As always, I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you as always. Have a good evening. Stay safe. God bless you.